Kids and cadets, welcome back to Tommy Time. No clucking around here at Tommy Time today. This is serious business. We got a Cub Cadet 1204 in front of us. This came out of an estate sale. I picked this up along with some other various lawn equipment, which we'll discuss. Mr. Cluck and I will go through this thing, look it over, figure out what the story is. So like I said, it's model 1204. So I kind of did a little research on this beast. The 1204 was produced in 1987 and 1988, according to the manufacturer's date stamp here. D027G. I'm assuming it was an 87 model year. Cubby, Cleveland, Ohio. So it's got a 12 horsepower Kohler engine on it. The Mike 12 Sam is the 12 horsepower Kohler engine number. This has 4 forward speeds, 1 reverse. Max forward speed is 5.2 miles an hour. The dry weight of this beast is 650 pounds. So it's a heavy booger. Back in 87, they didn't skimp on steel. It's not a cheap Murray. There's some beefiness to this thing. So the backstory on this is I had answered an ad for 2 old Honda trail bikes, a Trail 90 and a Trail 50. So I paid $100 for those 2, and then they had a rusted out Troy built. I gave $20 for that. I told them, if you come up with any more lawn equipment, let me know. They had actually shown me this and said $100, but I didn't have any room to take it. The trailer was full with the scooters. So they messaged me back during the week and said, hey, we found another push mower and you can come get the Cub Cadet for free. So they had dug up this, got a bag with it. When the gentleman brought it out to the trailer, I noticed there's no blade on this. This is trying to look at a date code, 2013 on the Troy built with the Honda GCV. So I went out, grabbed this, and I told him, I'll give you $100 for the Cub Cadet. I just didn't have room for it the other day. I had the scooters. I'll still give you $100. You don't have to give it to me free. So same scenario. I gave him another $120. I gave him $100 for the Cubby and then $20 for this. They threw in 3 Stihl BG55 blowers. He said, do you want some blowers? I said, sure. So he threw these, and bulbs are all broken. So I went to AliExpress and got 3 brand new carbs. They're on the way. I figured I wasn't going to mess around with trying to rectify this. The carbs were like $10.50 with an air filter, fuel line, a spark plug, a couple of other things in the kit. So I couldn't beat the price. These were free if I spend under $11 and get them all running per machine. I think I'll be looking good. So 3 these BG55s. So let's go back to the Cubby. So I dealt with the son-in-law, and he said his father-in-law was from Indiana, moved to Florida 35 years ago, and I see this New Haven, Indiana. I didn't ask him if he brought it down with him, but maybe he did bring the machine down. They had like a 20-foot by 30-foot lawn. This thing would have been overkill. You wouldn't even have been able to turn this thing around. So I think this thing is sat for quite a while. I looked at the battery. Last battery in this thing was March of 2013. I'm looking at the date code. So maybe he kept it going, and then after 2013 didn't mess with it. So side cover, the machine looks like it's complete. 38-inch deck. I think you could get a 42-inch was the option for this 1204. You could get a larger deck. I can't see the model number. I guess I can read it. Yeah, 147610100, serial number 763018. So I've never dealt with anything this old. It's got a front-mounted PTO, electric operated, which sends the drive belt down to the belly for the deck, mower deck. Notice these two springs when I popped the hood. One was on the trailer and another one was resting up in here. So I got to figure out what these springs go to. I got to put air in the tires, severely dry rotted on the tires. So what do you guys think for $100? The hour meter says 580 on the hour meter. You got your front PTO switch. The key came with it. And throttle, engine speed. So I'm assuming this is the shifting here. Probably reverse is down in there. I'd have to do some research on this. Deck height. The thing I like about it, it's got a plastic tank. Since it's been sitting so long, if it was a steel tank, I'd have a pisser of a time getting the stale gas out of it, red coating it, sealing it. This thing has got a plastic gas tank, which makes my life a whole lot easier. I did look at the oil earlier. It does have oil on it. Almost dropped the hood on my head. So there's a little jerry rigging going on up here with a bungee tie. I got to figure out what that's all about. So those springs may have something to do with the deck. Car size starter. That'd start a Chevy V8. Thing's huge. So I told Uncle Brad what I had. He said he had one up in Berwyn, a little older than this, and they had a snow plow blade in the front and an actual snow blower attachment. He said the snow blower attachment was useless. You'd have to run the engine full RPM, and it wouldn't do very well with the snow blower. But he said the plow attachment worked great. It would push the snow in beautiful Berwyn and Cicero, Illinois. So this thing wasn't far off here in Indiana. New Haven, Indiana. I'm sure it's a nice community. One of the largest in the Midwest. Lee's, the working man's friend. So that's good to know. They must have been an international dealer or a cubby dealer. So that was my $100 purchase. We'll see what we can do with this thing. Few lines are stiffer than the Empire State Building. Got a fuel pump. Looks like it's a mechanically driven fuel pump. So I got to mess with this thing, but not today. I've got other projects I'm working on. Kind of was taking a break from lawn mowers. Had other household issues to deal with. Clever little hood ornament. I think they could have come up with something a little bit more exciting than a piece of plastic. Anyway, I'll get my $100 back by selling a couple of these BG55s. And don't know anything about this. Like I said, blades missing on the Troy built. Maybe the crankshaft's bent. But they gave me a bag and the handle with it. So this guy was kind of a junk collector. They said they were up to 8 full-length dumpsters filled to the brim. They would fill it, another empty one would get dumped off. They did this 8 times. The metal they kept aside. They found a metal scrapper to pick up the metal, and the stuff they thought was worth it to advertise. They advertised it. Except for this, they didn't bother advertising this. They advertised the scooter and some other stuff. Anyway, that's the story on the 1204. Mr. Cluck and I are going to finish our other project we're working on. We'll come back and see on this. I'll throw a battery in it, kind of look at the carburetor, see if we can do anything with this. I'm sure it won't be much. It says it's got a foam pre-cleaner and a paper element. Every 100 hours, clean this thing off. Okay, what do we got? Okay, looks like an automotive type filter. Gasket here is falling apart. Somebody's been in here before. The bolts to the carb are loose. Somebody's been in here messing around. Messy on the cubby. So who knows? As long as it's complete and they didn't leave any parts off of it. I asked about attachments, if they had any plow attachments or anything like that, and they said no. So luckily they saved the side cover, so that I'll have a complete machine. The only other thing I noticed is they put a full-size hitch here, so that'd be good if you had a trailer. You could hook up your trailer here and tow it around the yard, boat trailer possibly. I'm sure the Cubby would handle it with the big tires. Okay, that's all I got for you. Continue to have a nice day. Thanks for coming out. I think I did okay. $100 on this old gem. If I can't do anything with it, I'll offload it to some other handy person who maybe wants to restore it. Or maybe they have another Cubby and they want parts. Tip your waitress and wait staff. They're doing a good job. They really like the generous tips. Continue to have a good day. Thanks again. Come back tomorrow. More junk to look at.